Welcome to the nightly vid. Before we get started, we just want to do a little bit of education here. So we talked about some threes yesterday. We talked about some setups. Let's just see how you trade it. The first thing is indexes. We always talk about confirming and negating when it comes to these guys in the morning. What happens is all four indexes, we want to see them confirm in the same direction. What does that look like? Well, on Monday, SPY gap down goes green. That's to the upside, right? This is a 2 down, 2 up 60 buy, and then you sell it here when it reverses. If we go to Qs, it was also gap down buy. They're confirming, right? They're both 2 down and green. And then they both go reversal, which reconfirms the upside. And then they continue, which reconfirms the upside. Continue, still confirming, negating right here when it reverses. So they're buying, no longer buying, gone. If we go to the Dow Jones, gap down buy, what is that? A buy, and then they're buying inside. Then they're buying, then there's some slight profit taking, but then they're inside, then there's some buying, some profit taking, and then they're buying, and then inside, and now they're selling, reversal, right? So you can see buy here, sell here. It's that simple. IDBM, the gap down, they're buying, right? It's doji, so not as strong, and then reversal, that's all confirming the upside. So what happened on Monday? Everything went 2 down, green, and then 2-2 reversal, that's a buy. They all confirmed each other, and then they all kept confirming in that direction. So we say 2-2 reversal, and then it kept confirming. And then where did it negate? Right here with the inside down. Not only can we confirm and negate trend on one chart, but we can confirm and negate across time frames. So this morning, IDBM opens 2 up on Tuesday on the 60-minute, going up. Dow Jones opens 2 up on the 60-minute, going up. They're confirming each other. SPY opens outside 60 reversal. So SPY is not confirming the down IDBM. Qs open 2 to the downside. Qs is not confirming down IDBM. So the question is, who's lying, right? Is it the Qs and SPY? They're just going to recover? Or are down IDBM going to come back in and start confirming the direction Qs and SPY went? So what we say then, right, is Dow goes up, IDBM goes up, and then they go inside simultaneously. When that occurs, what we then say is, okay, down IDBM, they were leading the market. The leaders will either confirm or negate the weaker, the SPY and the Qs. So when Dow and IDBM go 2-2 reversal right here at the open of the 60, it is negating what it was doing in the morning, which is then reconfirming the direction SPY is going. So we have Dow, SPY, and Qs all going down when this breaks. You got 3/4 of the market. And then slightly later, IDBM breaks. Now you have the whole market reversing and confirming in the same direction. So IDBM and Dow Jones negate their initial push up, right, going the opposite direction. SPY and Qs confirm their initial direction, so they're the weaker ones. SPY goes reversal down and then continuation. It has to be weaker. Qs goes continuation, it was already going down, then inside bar, and then continuation, it has to be the weakest because Qs reversed yesterday at the close. So you can see this is the weakest. SPY would be the second weakest. And then if you didn't short those and you're late, you hit Dow Jones, that was the third. Then IDBM triggered last, that was the fourth, or the laggard, because it was the last one to reverse at that point. But this is how it works, right? Hopefully you're seeing that. And then as far as it goes with some of the setups, we had CRM. So we wanted to see it continue. However, first 15 of the day, what's happening? When the first 15 opens, the 15-minute open is right here. So if we just write that out, that's a 15 open. Guess what? It is also there. The 60-minute open's right there. So they're the same. We don't have data, right? We only have the 60 open. And guess what else is right there? The day open. So guess what? The first 15 of the day, we only have the day for evidence. The 15, 60 day, they're all the same open. Once the next open occurs, you're going to see the day and the 15 separate. That's good to know because that's when things change. In this case, they bought it, right? So you can see they sold it, then they bought it, then the new 15 opens, they're selling, goes reversal, then what? The day goes red because the day was previously green. Guess what? Those buyers have problems. Why does it matter in here, Alex, would be your question. Well, we have a pivot machine gun. What else do we have? Yesterday, we noted CRM was a scenario 3 on the day. What is that? That means this range is a broadening formation from this high to this low. So we can just mark it out and say, okay, well, This is a 3. This is a broadening formation. If we start coming back through it, that's a problem for the buyers, right? The same way we had this 3 here, and then it started coming back through, so it goes higher. So if we go to it, you'll see they reclaim the high of the 3 right here, negate the day, full time frame continuity down, puke, right? And if you miss that, how do you get in there? Well, you can use the 60 minute because we're always going to confirm or negate. The day is bright red. Can we confirm or negate that day? Goes inside, sideways, inside, sideways, inside, down, confirm, puke, right? So sell, sideways, sideways, confirms the sell, puke. Let's go to AAOI. Was this also a scenario 3 that we mentioned in last night's vid? Yes. What is a 3? Broadening formation. What happens when you fail one side? You go to the other. So what do we do? Well, you see in the morning, it's going to be quick, right? So unless you're in there on like a 1 minute, 2 minute, 3 minute, timing those broadening formations, which you can do, you're going to see they sold, they bought, we can sell it, right? And then they did make some lower highs and then lower lows. This is where the broadening expansion happens below this. And you'll see they back test it and then they keep going. So if you're really quick in there, you can be that guy. However, it's easier to just do this. Go to the 60. What do we wait for? Well, the day is bright red, right? We could have traded the rev strat, but it goes 3, 2 down, so it confirmed, but no signal. 1, when this signal breaks, it's negating. However, the magnitude of this inside bar, where is it going? Here. What does this not do if it only takes magnitude? It doesn't change the day. What does that tell us? We still have all day to sell it. The day is still red. How do we know? Well, let me show you. If we take a look, to make a winning trade, we need the 60, the day, minimum. We want those two in our favor. At the very least, you have to have the 60, but 60 and day is what we want. So you'll see the 60 goes inside, and then they tried to buy it, right? And then the rev strat kicks in. Guess what? That daily seller, they're selling. The 60 goes green, no longer selling. The 60 went up, they weren't selling. But then once it hits its magnitude, that seller comes back. And then you'll see shooter actionable signal 60. Where's that going to go? New lows. Where else is that going to go? Outside day, bottom of this broadening formation. As you can see, right? That outside day is a broadening formation. Super important. New highs, reclaims the highs, lower lows. Keep it simple. We'll also see some leaders that we traded this morning, specifically MP, as well as some others. You'll see the 2-2 day, right? What do we have to wait for? We can buy it right at the open, yes, if we're a swinger. Not trying to time any entries, but what we want to wait for is timing the broadening formation. So in the morning, it did get stuck inside, which meant we had inside 60s. So you'll see this. Triple inside 30. So it goes up and then confirms or negates. No, it does nothing. Sideways. Confirms direction. Confirms new highs. Shooter outside bar reclaiming what? The morning highs. Where's that going to go? Morning lows. You reclaim the highs, you're going to take the lows. That's how the broadening formation works, right? Puke. New 60 opens here. What happens? That buyer on the day comes back. That buyer that's here this week comes back. Where's it going? Let's try to go back up there. So when we look at this, you're going to see that new high on the bigger time frame, reclaim, puke, reversal on the fiver, brings it back in, right? So what we can do is we can trade these 30s in here. Shooter 30, we can short that as a pivot machine gun. Boom. Once this goes green here, we can actually flip it long, reclaiming this low, which looks like this. Once it's coming back above those lows, we can just hop in there like so, right? Keeping that tight stop, something like this. And then we'll see, maybe tomorrow they come up, maybe they don't. But we can go to RBRK, another example. So in the morning, this is slightly different. Inside day signal setup, 3-2-2 week setup. We still like this one. Well, how do you play it? Well, if you're going to trade the open, you like the 5er, you like the 15er, you like the 3 minute. Lower the time frames. What do we wait for? Well, first they have to buy it, and then they have to get stopped out, and then we can buy it. So how are we going to time this in the morning? This 2-2, when it goes reversal against, you get out, so be it. What happened? They bought it, right? Didn't work right away, that's fine. They sold it, then we can buy it. This 2-2, this inside bar add, all the way back up, right? So you can see in the bigger time frame, we go up, then down, and then back up. On the smaller time frame, they go down, then up, down, and then back up again. So you get the smaller time frame broadening formation at the bottom of the big one. That's something we like to do. Now, as far as what we did this morning, we just used a 60. Is that a hammer? Yep, right here. When that breaks, we're in. And then when this goes 60 reversal, we can take our money and run, or we can reduce by half and leave a winning trade. At the very least, this is still a 1.8% move. That's not bad, right? On options, that's tens and tens of percents in a couple hours. That's pretty easy stuff. That being said, let me just make sure my pizza's not burning. I'll be right back. I can't pause my recording for some reason. OBS is broken. I made the pizza perfectly. That being said, though, let's dive into the charts. So I already did this once, which is why we took a little longer in the education. But let's dive into the inside days first. So if we go and take a look, we will see this. We already talked a little bit about indexes, but you're going to see, so SPY, 3 on the day, that's a broad information, draw it out. How are you going to get out of that? Right, Qs went 2-2 reversal, which on a 2-day chart is going to look like a shooter. If you go here, you have a shooter on the 2-day chart. So if we're below this, 59698 later this week, it's a problem. If we go to the IWM, that's a shooter. And this is what we call the 2-2-2, the 2 up, the 2 down, the 2 up, and then 2 down again. So you can see they went reversal and then reversal against the reversal is what we'd look for. So we'll see if we get profit taking into the end of the quarter. If we go to the Dow Jones, you're going to see the 3-2-2 potentially. And again, 3s are broadening formations. So that's a 3. This goes 2-2. We're at least trying to take the other side of that, if not much further. It's been grinding up. We got pivots to take out. This is good stuff we look for. As we get to the end of the quarter, we'll see. Let's dive into the inside days. S&PS. It's moving, right? Inside day, and you'll see it's into recent highs. Your broadening formations can be a little tricky to see here, but it's going to look something like that. At this point, if we go to a 60, maybe a little bit more clear. It's going to look like this. Right? It looks weird, but that's just how it is. If we go to Oracle, if we are going to see any market weakness, you got the slight higher highs. Inside day, we could go, what? They sell, they stop out, we sell, and we make all the money. If we go to Zscaler, we're going to see what? Top of the bigger broadening formation on the day, like a so. And then what happened? Well, they sold short, they stopped out, and then we might be able to sell and make all their money. AbbVie, maybe the same thing. And you got the broadening formation, 3-1 day. And then if there is bullish action tomorrow, Autodesk inside day, which could cause the 2-2 reversal week, would have full time frame continuity. However, we're just under all-time highs. So we got these pivots to take out. We'll see. As again, yet again, when we get to the end of the quarter, we just got to be careful of the chop shop. That might be slowing us down. And as far as sectors are concerned, inside day, we're going to have home builders, which tells you TOL, PHM, Lennar, maybe Home Depot, Lowe's, which I think were weak today. Yeah, so those are already going down. But you're going to see maybe even some hammers in there if they want to firm them up. They're back to the month open. But if we go to TOL, you'll see inside day. So either side of that can get our attention. PHM, inside day, either side of that can get our attention. You'll see we're bottom of this daily triangle with the PMG. If they do break it up, Lennar, inside day, a little bit weaker, having more trouble. And if you recall last week, we did see home builders, a lot of inside weeks down from our weekend vid. Some names that I am already watching, we'll have Figma. And I'm interested, we're back into this gap. We have the inside week signal up, still mother bar, but maybe we can set up the hammer month. And it's a big maybe since the market looks like it may weaken up tomorrow here. We will also see inside days in the technology, which includes your Oracle / Autodesk. We saw from our last night's vid, Microsoft went inside day down, which not to bore you with more educational stuff, but you can see how do you get in there. Well, unless you got in there, right? You can say they sold and they bought, and then we can sell it right at the open. Unless you did that, they sold here, then you bought, then boom, you're in, and then you can stay short the rest of the day if you'd like. That's how we like to do it. And you can see throughout the rest of the day, just keeps going because notice the 60-day week, they're all red. So at that point, even though the month is slightly green in here, we had no evidence of the monthly seller. So what's happening all day? Well, you see they buy and then they sell, and then they sold. They stop some of these guys out and then they sell again. They buy, they sell, and then they buy again, and then they sell. Down they go. Just beautiful stuff. And that being said, let me get to technology. Wow, a lot of inside days in here. We'll have NVIDIA inside day in the tech, which will actually separate into semis just because it looks like there's a lot here. Dell inside day. Still pretty green on the month, so not a lot of follow through opportunity there. Let's see eBay inside day PMG. It's definitely interesting. That could break it down. SMCI inside day. Setting up for next month. Okta inside day. Looks like that's about it as far as technology goes and home builders. So we'll leave it at that. If we go to look for our 2-up and red setups, we have a lot of 3s from yesterday, so no shame in looking at some 3-2-2s or specifically 3-2-2s. We got healthcare, tech, healthcare, tech, healthcare, financials, healthcare, tech. So a lot of tech, a lot of healthcare. ISRG, I forgot to go 2-up and red. W day. So you can see they take some new highs out and then potentially the 3-2-2. We go to CRM. Potentially the 3-2-2 countering a rev strat with a 2 going 3 months still red. So CRM could turn into PMG of all these guys instead. I'll put a star next to it since we have that PMG, FLUT. Trade that one, Dow Jones. All right. If we go to QCOM, slight 3-2 up in red. A lot of signals trading against there, so I'd be countering what we know to be true on bigger time frames. D-Dog is stuck. And we can't forget the financials. So with the Singer 3's XLF, we're going to have some 2-up and reds in there. Citigroup. Citigroup in there. Let's see. Bank of America. Wow. Sorry about this. Bank of America. We'll have Goldman Sachs with the shooter day in here. We got Morgan Stanley. Got the shooter day in there as well. Wells Fargo. Very interesting. To top of the broadening formation, then right here. So maybe they bring them back in. We go to Biotechs, let's see, 2 up in red. DKNG. You have the 322 in here, pivot machine gun of these guys. However, see the month. 3 on the month, so maybe a 3-2 next month if they want to get her moving. Then a lot of nobodies, so 3-2 up in reds. We don't have as many as I would like to see. Let's see the scenario ones. 2 up in red. Next PI. Sell them down, they buy them up. So just you can see choppy. ALN in the financials, man. ADI. Choppy. CHW. A little bit more interesting because you can see long red and green bars. That's what we like to see. Maybe SCHW. And it is relatively a little weaker to other financials. And in the 2 up in reds, we also have cruise lines setting up simultaneous break. You can see CCL, the RevStrat Day, for the 3122, and CLH for the 222 Randy Jackson, triangle layout and then back down. And you can see, right? People say, oh, this is a fair value gap. It's like, nah, you just ran out of pivots. It's the same thing, right? This broadening formation goes outside of all that. And then it's nowhere near going outside this. So when it starts coming back, they're trying to take this out, maybe take the rest of those guys out. We go to CCL. We already looked at that. Go to RCL, it's going to be similar. You'll see they took the pivot out. And here it is. So maybe simultaneous breaks there. We also did see airlines, United Airlines, Delta, American Airlines. Alaska's already going down. I think Spirit Airlines delisted or went private or something. So we don't have that. But in the jets, you're also going to have some shooters there. So potentially simultaneous break, which tells you industrials, right? You'll see mother bar to this, which tells you what? Broadening restart, which tells you what? This goes 2-2. Uh-oh. And these guys, big trouble. So in the industrials, you're going to have, airlines / cruise lines, specifically, maybe UPS and FedEx. Now for the rest of the 2 up in red, since there's 215 of them, I'm just going to copy. I'm going to go to the month. I'm going to filter and just be like, all right, who's red on the month? Because that's who I prefer to be shorting. A lot of nobodies here. Maybe APLS. So you can see sell, slight buyer. Maybe they get puking again. It's just not as much meat on the bone as we like to see. GAL or GGAL, I'm not sure. He did have the triangle layout. But maybe not as much meat on the bone as we like to see. A lot of these names are under $50, so a lot of companies that are already just not doing too hot. All right. Let's not get too boring here. I'm just going to leave it at that. And then as far as 2 down and green, we do have 60. We have 42 names as a 2 down and green. Now, how many of those are actually like tradable names that are doing stuff? Well, we're going to see Staples 2 down and green with the utilities already going up, with the real estates closing up near the highs. And there might have been one other one, defense, with the defense sector closing up near the highs. So we can say, right, 2 down, 2 up. Specifically Staples we'll take a look at. And that is going to be the consumer non-cyclicals in the scanner. And we'll see what those 2 down and greens look like. if they're, any good. So SJM could trigger the hammer weak. It's still inside month, which means it's not going down, unlike the rest of the staples. So could be a very positive thing for SJM schmuckers. And we'll just call that relative strength. Clorox does have a bit of a broadening formation here. We'd actually draw it something like this. And you can see some people will be like, well, Alex, it did not make this lower low. It's like, well, did they buy it? Yeah. Did they sell it? Yeah. Could we buy it here? Also, yeah. If we go to HRL, K, Kroger, it's a lot of digging in the dumps here in the staples. Let's just see, did any of the staples go 2 up today? It might be more interesting to know about. I got to finish this off before my food gets cold. Let's see the leaders this morning. All right, so we'll just say PM 2-day hammer, MO 2-day hammer. Say those are some of the leaders that we do see. Pepsi on the 2-day chart, it's also slight hammer, but just like, nah. A lot of digging in the dumps here, and I'm not very interested in that. So we'll just call it a maybe. What I'd like to say is utilities are still definitely pretty strong. And with Wednesday coming, we have energy numbers. So we'll see. Energy's had a big ripper to the upside. Some buying. Now, does that hold or not? Like OIH, right? If this goes 2-2 tomorrow, right? They sold, they bought a lot really fast, and then they have to get out of a lot really fast. That could be an issue. So we'll be watching those energies as maybes. XLE/XOP/OIH equal maybe. And let's end it off just with the scenario 3s and look for the biggest 3s that we can with the highest ATR. So what do we got? Carvana. And add that in there. You can see the 113, right? And what do you look for? Negates on the second 60 of the day, and then inside 60 add. Down we go. RH. Outside bar shooter. Ooh. That's interesting. And if we can get below that, because that would trigger an inside weak shooter down pivot machine gun. RH. So I like that. Reminds me of the Procter & Gamble from the weekend vid. Machine gun. Snow. Oh yeah, we like snow too. Top of the triangle. Still an inside week, inside month though, so we'll just wait on it. Palantir went 3 as well today. LMND. Oh yeah, I really like that one. That's my favorites list. I like the look of that. Outside of that, a lot of smaller volatility stuff I'm not interested in. So here is your nightly vid. We're gonna leave it here. And adios, everyone. See you guys bright and early in the morning. And if not, again, go check out stratalerts.ai. We have a free, or not free, but we have a huge discount running. Use code APLD for the 1 month at stratalerts.ai // premium access. Sorry, I just had to double check. Sometimes I mess that up. But if you go here, you can use the one on the left, subscribe to monthly. It's like $90 with the APLD code. So go use that. We only have 50 codes. Make sure to use it up. It's going to expire tomorrow. But adios, guys, and have a good rest of your night.